Why wait to see if you'll get something you like this Valentine's Day when you can go to BlueNile.com and find something you'll love? Whether you're looking to treat yourself to a little winter sparkle or show a galentine how much you appreciate them, Blue Nile offers a wide selection of high-quality designs, expert guidance, and free 30-day returns for the ultimate peace of mind. You can even design your own jewelry. Right now, save up to 50% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
American soccer fans, welcome to episode 106 of the USA Soccer Cast. We're bringing you everything about the U.S. national teams, the players, the leagues, and everything else that impacts the game of soccer in these United States. I'm Donald Wine. It's May 3rd, 2023, and it's been a minute, but I want to catch up with a couple of topics that we learned of in the past couple of weeks. The first one is the 2027 Women's World Cup. The 2023 Women's World Cup is in just a couple of months, but we now have reason to look ahead to the next edition of the tournament 4 years from now. That's because back on April 19th, just a few minutes after the start of the USA-Mexico match for the men, U.S. Soccer and the Mexican Federation announced that they have launched a joint bid to host the 2027 Women's World Cup. The two nations, as all of you know, are co-hosting the 2026 Men's World Cup alongside Canada. Canada is not involved in this bid for the 2027 Women's World Cup, presumably because they just hosted by themselves back in 2015, and it would have only been 12 years since they have done that. FIFA announced that the U.S.-Mexico bid would go up against just three other bids: South Africa, Brazil, and a joint bid between Belgium, Germany, and the Netherlands. FIFA's process will have us waiting until May 17th of next year to learn who will host the 2027 tournament. So is this something that's doable for the United States? Of course. I mean, they could host most tournaments by themselves in the state of Texas if they wanted to, but the joint bid with Mexico is another show of camaraderie between the two soccer rival nations. For the United States, though, it would be another tournament in what is an absolutely loaded schedule over the next decade. In addition to bidding for the 2027 Women's World Cup, here's what the U.S. is already hosting. We have the 2024 Copa America, 2025 Expanded Gold Cup, the 2025 Men's World Cup Playoff, which is supposed to be the United States. They haven't officially announced that, but by all intents and purposes, everyone assumes it's going to be here. Of course, we have the 2026 Men's World Cup with Canada and Mexico co-hosting. And then in 2028, LA hosts the Summer Olympics. But right after that, in 2031, the Rugby World Cup for the men will be here. And then in 2033, the Rugby World Cup for the women will also be in the United States. So if they hosted 2027 hosting rights, they would become the first country to host the Women's World Cup 3 times and would join Mexico as the first countries to host the Men's and Women's World Cups back to back. And again, that would just fall right in line with that loaded schedule that I just talked about. So for me, I think the favorites of the four bids have to be USA, Mexico, and Belgium, Germany, Netherlands. I loved attending the 2014 Men's World Cup in Brazil and would absolutely die to go back to Brazil. And I've never been to South Africa. I missed the 2010 Men's World Cup there. Wanted to go so bad, could not make it work. I've been dying to go and visit Africa in general, but mainly South Africa. However, my gut tells me that the Europe bloc is going to be very united in trying to bring the tournament back to its area of the world. The USA-Mexico bid is going to be the other major contender, I think. We got a while for the race to shape up, but it would do so much to showcase the women's game in this country once again, and also in Mexico. Mexico's been building up their women's program over the last couple of years. They didn't make the Olympics or the Women's World Cup, but they are poised to be contenders and really be a team that can be a force to be reckoned with in 2027. So hosting in their country would be a big deal for them. But first, before we get all that, let's just get through this summer, and hopefully we're walking into 2027 still carrying that championship belt. Let's pause for a quick break, but we discuss U.S. Soccer hiring a new sporting director after this.
Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
We're back, and as I mentioned before the break, we're going to keep the Federation in our discussion as they have finally hired a brand new sporting director. Last Tuesday, U.S. Soccer formally announced that Matt Crocker will be the Federation's new sporting director. He replaces Ernie Stewart, who departed the Federation in February. Crocker comes to U.S. Soccer from Southampton FC, where he was the director of football operations for the club that's currently in the Premier League for at least a few more weeks. They need a miracle to stay up, as they are currently dead last in the table. But at Southampton, Crocker's main responsibility was the continued evolution of their academy, which is considered one of the best in England. If you look at a lot of the teams that have great stars, Liverpool, for example, has taken a lot of teams that once played either at Southampton in the first team or came up through their academy. Crocker also helped develop Southampton's women's team, which went from a part-time team to a full professional team that has risen from the National League to the Championship, just one level below the Women's Super League in just a couple of seasons. Before his stint at Southampton, he was the head of development teams for the English Football Association, and he has 25 years of experience in player development, particularly at the youth level. His main role at the FA was, among other things, helping to establish what is called the England DNA. That was the playing and coaching style for the national team setups that they have used throughout the last few years. And his main focus on the youth national teams has led to a lot of recent success for England. That nation has won the 2017 U17 and U20 World Cups, as well as the 2019 UEFA U19 Euros. That was while he was at the FA and kind of establishing this, quote, DNA. Crocker is going to take over the sporting director role here at the United States Soccer Federation full-time on August 2nd. But while he finishes out with his time with Southampton, he will have two immediate focuses. First, he will assist with the women's national team's preparations for this summer's Women's World Cup. And secondly, he will be heading the process for hiring a new men's national team head coach. Once he takes over full time, he will be responsible eventually for setting up U.S. Soccer's sporting vision and further creating a sporting culture and philosophy that will be shared by all national teams on all levels. It's a pretty good hire by many accounts for U.S. Soccer, who left people kind of wondering who they would hire to replace Ernie Stewart. Their public timeline had them wanting a sporting director in place before the Women's World Cup begins in July, and they've done that. Now, Crocker is going to have to step up the search for that new men's national team head coach, and then decide when to make that hire and bring that coach into the fold. Because right now we have Anthony Hudson, and as we all know, the men's national team have an important summer ahead of them with the Nations League finals and then the Gold Cup starting a week after that. So will he bring in a coach that will coach the Gold Cup? Will he bring in a coach after the Gold Cup? Remains to be seen, but he has a lot of work ahead of him, and it seems like he's on the right path. And U.S. Soccer at this point, I think a lot of people think they've made a great hire in Matt Crocker, and we wish him the best of luck in that position. There's a lot going on at U.S. Soccer, and he's going to be the guy on at least the sporting side to evaluate everything and keep everything moving forward. So that will do it for episode 106 of the USA Soccer Cast. Thank you for listening. Remember to follow us on Twitter. We're at USA Soccer Cast on Twitter. Also, don't forget, we have an affiliate program with Fanatics and MLS Store. Head to usasoccercast.podbean.com to learn more and support the show while getting the latest gear. We have a link tree as well with all these links available. at the click. You can find that at linktr.ee/USA Soccercast. Finally, topic suggestions. As we move forward, we'd love to hear from you. Email those to usasoccercast@gmail.com. We'll talk to you again soon, y'all. Peace.